This is my 3D printer. I made a video about when I got this 3D printer a while back. I'll put a link to it up here somewhere. But I had a little printing mishap. And this is the remnants of the mess that I had to clean up, including this hard plastic shell of filament was completely encased around the hot end. In case anybody doesn't know what that is, that's where the plastic comes out when it's melted. This printing disaster caused my hot end to be pretty much destroyed. In there somewhere is the thermal sensor for the hot end. And yeah, today I got to fix my 3D printer. I have no idea if I bought the right parts, but that's today on Tech Guy Life. Okay, so the first thing I got to do is I have to get the old wiring and stuff out of the way, which means clipping cable ties. This is also going to be very difficult to get properly on screen, so bear with me. So the filament issue was so bad, the entire hot end was completely encased in melted filament. And the end of the thermistor was gone. I think it's the thermistor. I don't know what. Anyway, it's the piece that tells the temperature of the hot end. That was gone. And the only way I could actually get it out of the plastic was to literally cut the actual core, the heating core, out of the plastic too. So this was a complete disaster from the get-go. So let's continue getting these wires out. Fortunately, they run everything together through this cable sheathing. Oh, it looks like I could disconnect the fan, or one of them anyway. Now that's helpful, but not really helpful when the rest of it can't be disconnected. Let's take the rest apart. Okay, so I got to get the bottom box where the board is opened up so that we can get access to where the wires go. So there are some more cable ties in here that are holding everything together. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to undo this tape. Okay, so it's a pretty bad angle. Let's see if I can move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see it. But there is a green screw terminal connector right here. And the thermal part goes right in there. So I just need to loosen those two screws. Okay, and those should just disconnect. There we go. So now I should be able to pull those two wires through. Hopefully. Oh, wait, no, there's another cable tie up here. There we go. Oh, another cable tie all the way back over here. I think they went cable tie crazy. So there is the first wire out. And there is the second one. So these, unfortunately, are, well, yeah, garbage. Okay, here comes the thermistor wires. And those are connected onto the board, onto this little connection down here. So we're just gonna, oh, it's glued in. There we go. That is disconnected. So the remaining wires that are going through here are for the touch sensor, like for the bed leveling, and the two fans. That's what is running through there currently. So when I went to go look for a new hot end to buy for this printer, I have no idea. I am so novice at 3D printing. It's kind of like I just hope it works. I had no idea what to buy. I could have bought the exact same one, but then I was reading some stuff and looking at some videos on YouTube and wanted to do an upgrade or whatever. But finding hot ends other than the exact same one that came with this printer, actually I couldn't even find the one that came with this printer. Everything, this is an Ender 3 Neo, and everything that I found, the only thing I found was an Ender 3 Neo V2 hot end, which I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I found this one, and I'm going to go with this one. Apparently, this is an Ender or a regular Ender 3's hot end. Not really sure, but I'm hoping it works. So running the cables through the wire bag or this mesh that they've got on here was an absolute nightmare. There's like a rubberized coating on here, so they were not going through nicely or even easily. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to tightly cable tie them to the existing one. That way, if this doesn't work either, I could just take it out a little bit easier than, you know, than running it through all nicely and neatly. And it's a 3D printer. There's wires everywhere on this. I'm not really, it doesn't really go with neatness, like it's not very neat of a setup. There's like this wire's just sitting here and wires all over the place. So I'm just going to hook it up as is, put the box back together, and then run everything nice and neat. There we go. The thermistor is connected. At least I think that's the thermistor part. If I'm using terms wrong, you guys will tell me in the comments below, I'm sure. And the heater core is nicely connected now. All right, I tossed on a couple of cable ties in there. And now let's start to put it back together. Okay, time to add some more cable ties just to keep this whole bundle together. Okay, so I have it upright again, and I apologize for the terrible angle, but this thing is really hard to film around when you don't have a forward-facing camera mount set up. So what I have to do now is I got to attach the hot end to the mount. So let's move that out of the way. And there's 2 screw holes right here, and they line up with the screw holes on the front of the hot end. So I'm just going to run one through and just kind of start it there so it holds, and then run the other one through and get it started. There we go. Okay, so that's connected. Here we are with everything back apart again, because I'm sure a bunch of you were yelling at the screen, "Hey idiot, that hot end's not going to work." Well, you're right. It didn't work, so it wasn't long enough. The nozzle didn't even go past the plastic base of the touch sensor, so it wasn't going to work. So, lesson learned, moving on. So I had to go and get a different hot end. So I had to tear it all apart, and I have to install the new wires. But the cool thing is this one's, both the thermistor and the heating core have quick disconnects. So I don't have to do this ever again. As long as whatever hot end I get in the future or want to change to or swap with, if I put quick connects on it, I never have to open up the bottom part again. So I'm going to go ahead and hook these up. It's the same process that I did before, just with different wires, but it's still the exact same thing. So I'm going to get that cleaned up and get all of that done, and we'll come back to setting up the new hot end. So when I was looking for a new hot end, I clearly didn't know what I was looking for the first time. So I made sure to stick with something that said it was absolutely 100% compatible with the Ender 3 Neo. My results were limited, at least what I could get access to on Amazon in Canada. Maybe in the United States, well, the United States definitely has access to way more supplies, and I didn't exactly want to wait for anything from AliExpress or any of that stuff. So I stuck with what was available on Amazon basically right now. So there was 2 options. I could get the exact same hot end that was on my printer the first time, the official one from CREALITY, or there was this guy. This guy was the same price, except it didn't come with the ceramic heater, so that was an extra cost. So it was a little bit more than what the basic one, the same one from CREALITY, would have cost. So I took a shot at this one because there was no information about it on YouTube or anywhere that I could find, except for one Reddit post and just different sales listings for it and their actual website. This is the YOOPAI I hope I'm saying that right. It's YOOPAI Spark for the Ender 3 Neo. It's specifically made for the Ender 3 Neo. They have a different version for the other ones, for like the Ender 3, the Ender 3 Pro, the CR10, and all those different ones. But this one was made for the Ender 3 Neo, so hopefully it should be just a install it and away we go situation. It looks like a kind of a knockoff of the Spider, which is CREALITY's super fast, high temperature Hotend. And this is supposed to be a high temperature Hotend, although I don't really need it to go high temperature. But we have to install the thermistor and the heating cartridge into it. So let's do that now. So we just take off the ceramic cover. In the package, it came with 2 of these, by the way, because these, you can't find these anywhere else. It is just it's an all metal Hotend, so hopefully that's good. It uses the standard nozzles that all Hotends use, so, or the standard ones, M8s, I believe they are M8 thread. So it's a standard nozzle, so it can work with the common nozzles that are out there. But let's get it set up. So they give you all the hardware that you need, some Allen wrenches, and then there's also some spare parts. There's 2 mounting screws to attach it to your printer. They also come with a couple of the extra little nubby screws that are in here to hold in the thermistor and the heating cartridge. So that's nice to see. And they also give you a little package of thermal grease. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put the thermal grease on this and this. And then when you slide them into the appropriate places, it should make it easier. And then you just tighten down the screws that are in here. Okay, so let's do the thermistor first. I'm just gonna pop open this little package of thermal grease. Actually, I think I'm just gonna kind of dip it in the package. And there, came out nice and good. I'm assuming this is just thermal paste. So slide it in, and then tighten the screw. And we don't want to like over tighten it. We just want it to hold in. So that should be good there. So same with this guy. Let's just, if we can get the package open enough, just slide it in. Give it a little twisty turn. And it comes out nicely coated in thermal paste. And then this one just goes in this side. And you line it up with the bottom because it comes right through. And we'll clean off the extra thermal paste. Don't you worry. And then we'll tighten it up. So the instructions are not very, detailed, but it's not too bad. I'm not confused by the instructions, as I am normally confused by instructions. And for some reason, 3D printing is incredibly intimidating to me, and I don't know why. I can, solder things, take apart stuff, doesn't matter, but 3D printing for some reason just seems just something I can't handle, which is kind of funny. There, put the silicone sock back on. Nice thing about that, it only goes on one way because of the way that the heat head or the heat part here is shaped. It's bigger on the back end than it is on the front end, so that only goes on one way. And then you know exactly which one is the front of the unit as well for when you mount it. So you have to use the screws they supply because the original ones were not long enough. Okay, so that's that. Let's get it back upright. Okay, so I'm going to connect the thermistor wire to its quick connect and also the Hotend wire, or the thermal cartridge wire. I don't even know what is the proper name of that thing. Anyway, so that's connected, but now we have to do the tubing. Okay, so I'm going to take the clip off. There we go. So that is all put back together. All right, so the printer is reinstalled back in its spot. The new hot end is all ready. Just got to clean up some more of these wires. I don't like how loose they are just off the side, so I got to clean that up a little bit, but not a big deal. So now all I got to do is put the cap back on, or this shield thing, and there we go. There we go, all connected. So let's run some test prints. Let's print the bunny and the boat and see how they turn out. So I have done a few upgrades to the printer. Not a lot, but a few. One big one I did was I managed to get Clipper and mainsail running on the printer. So I have a Raspberry Pi hooked up to the printer via USB, which gives me a network interface to my printer, so I don't have to keep putting in SD cards or any of that stuff. It also lets me monitor the printer from from my desk upstairs or wherever, because the printer is down in the basement. But in all of the time that I've had that printer, I have never, ever gotten prints of this quality from it. Like, the boat is amazing. It looks so good. And the bunny is so perfect. This is incredible. I have never seen prints this good from this printer before. I don't know if it was a happy accident that I managed to level it correctly, finally, after all of this time, or if it's the hot end, if it's the new hot end that has done this. But I have never printed this boat where you can actually see the texture on the top. Excuse the filament. It was just I had the black sparkly stuff loaded. That's what I had, and the fact that the holes in the front are perfect. Everything on this print is perfect, and I have never seen my 3D printer print anything this clean. Same with the bunny. The bunny printed absolutely beautifully clean. I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned at how this is printed. Honestly, if I could go back and do it again, I would not have bought that printer. Even though it was highly recommended by a lot of people on YouTube as a great starter printer. And of course, it's the kind of purchase where you can't just go, I'm going to get a different one, or I'm going to buy another one, because it's a major purchase. So you kind of have to live with what you bought. But now, after that little upgrade, I'm pretty happy. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Time to go give my daughter her boat and her bunny toy. She, for some reason, just loves these things off the 3D printer. But anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.